Indeed. You said earlier you weren't an academic, you didn't like school, and you left school. However, you've written a book. Pictures?
Written a book, yeah, written a book.
written a book called In the Eye of the Storm.
Yeah.
The Eye of the Storm. You're very honest and candid in the book about your life, your achievements, disappointments and trials on and off the pitch. I mean, what lessons have you learned, and how has being a Christian influenced all those experiences, really?
Well, like I said, the book, I think, as I spoke briefly there about, the early sort of days, I think is very important. I was very sort of blessed really to have parents that cared and loved me. Not saying like any parents they had, their faults, probably some of the teachings because of circumstances and different things, but that really for me was the foundation. And I think time, I felt that the time that my parents gave me when I was young was really important. Even though you rebel against them, you think, this is nonsense, this is mamby-pamby. Really, I think that time is the biggest thing that has influenced me. And I think as a parent now I feel, and sometimes it's easy because it sneaks up on you when you least expect, it's work and different things, and you say, next week, and we've got to realise that we're not in charge. And I think really I've had a few sort of things that have really made me think about that the last sort of 6 to 7 months. But I think the balance is the key, and I think the influence of time spending with people really has brought me through. And I'm so thankful to my parents for that early days, because I think if I hadn't had my parents, where the love for me was through God to my parents, I don't think that when I had that dark time as a 13 to sort of 15 and a half year old, I probably, would never have come back from where I was going. Yeah. And I feel I know probably me speaking to you tonight wouldn't sort of paint a big enough picture for it, but I can tell you it was like really thinking, this is, I'm going down the river here at the rate of knots, and I can't reach the banking sort of thing. But I really think, and it's only now when you when you think, you sit down, because time is poof, isn't it? You think, I played for Wales 59 times, sat on the bench 28 times, involved 80 odd times, and I'm doing a bit of work with the BBC, and I think, all that can't be. And people say, as I said, luck is I just feel inside, and that God has really helped me and blessed me in all the positive things in my life.
You said yourself that there's been good times, there's been bad times, there's been high times and low times. Even when you were playing professional rugby, like you say, caps for Wales, and even then there were dark times. Is there any sort of particular passage or verses that you go sort of go back to it and you feel has helped you through your life?
Yeah, it might not be relevant to sort of that, but like I said, there's been lots of sort of encouragement that I used to read sort of early days. I always remember when I was like captain of Swansea, my father had a heart attack at Cardiff, and Gwyn Jones broke his neck that day. And there was a live match on S4C, and I jumped over the side, and I think everybody thought I was doing Eric Cantona, but my father was actually had a heart attack while I was playing, and it was like through a period where I was reading the word for the day, and it was a real encouragement. And how well there at the time we climbed, I cried my way right on up the 7 peaks, and it was a time in my life where sort of I felt that I was growing, as a Christian. But no, I just, the story about Lazarus and the rich man really always sort of, I suppose if I'm honest, frightened me as a 12, 13-year-old. rich man had everything in the world, and you know, when he, I won't read, you know, if I'm going off on a tangent, but when he more or less died, he wasn't in a place where us as Christians, you know, trust that we are going. But you know, Lazarus was, you know, had nothing in life, and you know, was picking up the scraps off the dogs. Really, when his time on this earth had finished, he ended up in a place that you know, there was no pain, and you know, for eternity really. And that always, through those times when I talk about, you know, being in the homes and you know, being sort of not beat up, but in the fracas with lots of other sort of hardy toughs, really is one thing that always stayed me. Not, I suppose, not, you know, through the highs and the lows of the emotions of rugby, but really that message, you know, that I had heard on a beach mission in Newquay, really sort of has always made me, I suppose, I have to speak with honesty, but frightened me, because I'm thinking, and more often than not, I'm just so, well, I feel so blessed that God has shown me so much grace over the years, when the times that I've fallen over and been sent off at Ellis Park in front of 80,000 people, and you know, I'm always, but I'm so blessed that I've been shown grace. But if I look back at you know, passages in the scriptures, that really, that about the rich man, and he says, well, go back and tell my brothers, you know, and he's in a place of no return really, and you know, if that's not enough, then it did really stir me on my way really. And I'm not going to read it out of the Bible, but I'll just rather, you know, sort of tell it from the words that have gone into my head really. And I really thought about that, and like earlier in the year, I don't want to get your handkerchiefs out now and then, right? But I had a secondary tumour in my neck, and it was like at a time where I sort of knew what was going on inside of me, and it was very, very, you know, not challenging, but it was a time where I again turned to God big time in prayer, and very thankful that you know, things are working out good, and you know, I feel very blessed, and I made a sort of a commitment, you know, as we do. I think our prayer time is, you know, we don't sort of go public really all the time with our prayer, but I know that the prayer and my commitment to God for what He's done to me is really, you know, there's no sort of, yeah, great now, helped again, great, it's really stirred on more, if you like, because I'm not saying that I'm coming closer to my time on this earth, but really, it really has pushed me on as a Christian. I know God wouldn't do things like that, but you know, as far as bad and ills are concerned, but really, I really feel the last, you know, 6 months since I sort of had a little bit of surgery and back and forth for different things, and I feel, well, like King Kong really, but feel stronger than ever.
I don't want to say you look like King Kong.
Oh, well, no, well,
Well, Garin, I'd like to thank you for coming up and speaking to us. We wish you all the best in your continuing career. We'll give the Ospreys the best team in Wales, in case there's any... Come and speak to Garin again. But we wish you all the best in the future, and good luck.